probably a little bit like getting the Lifetime Achievement Award at the Grammys. It's a little bit awe-inspiring. It makes you wonder what the heck you're going to do with the rest of your life. So rather than say something silly, I think I'll revert to my Lutheranism and start with a song. Bring me out of darkness, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. I remember the first, probably PTSD causing thing that happened in my life is that my parents got divorced when I was 5 years old, in a divorce so chaotic that a 3,000-mile restraining order was issued for my alcoholic father. It's kind of symbolic. There's not 3,000 miles from South Dakota, someone could move to. But it was a tumultuous time, and I remember that the court ordered my brother and I to go to a therapist to make sure that we were okay. But I was the quiet and shy type, so when I arrived, they kind of evaluated me and said, she seems okay. And so while my family had family therapy, I sat in the waiting room. You're not allowed to do that anymore, right? Don't do it. I think I probably spent the rest of my life making sure that someone was told or was prevented from getting inside of that office. If it took throwing on a clergy collar and barging our way in like the defensive line of a football team, that we were getting in there. It's probably where my gut wants me to say something really challenging to you all, like beware of all of the ways you can diagnose and disable people in your future. Beware of the ways that creating ideas of what normal is can influence people. Beware of the power that you have and hold strong to your ethics. But then if I said that, I'd probably have to listen to about twice as long about the things religion has done in the world. I think they're the exact same things. So what I will tell you is a story of one of the nights that I spent sleeping in front of Old First Presbyterian Church in a sleeping bag. And I was covered up, and I had this moment where I realized having a black belt doesn't help you very much when you're in a sleeping bag. Your arms and your feet are all wrapped up. And I thought about all the things, those stories that you hear, the things that my mom would worry about if she knew a female-bodied person was sleeping on the streets. And so I took the hood of the sleeping bag and I pulled it tight over my head, and I thought, as long as nothing touches me, I'll be fine. Until about 2 o'clock in the morning when something touched me. To which I thought, is it better to stay in the sleeping bag or to see what's happening? And it touched me again. And so I peered out slowly. Man with wild eyes and wild hair staring at me, laughing hysterically. I think dual diagnosis schizophrenia laughter. He was actually putting a blanket on top of me. And he looked at me and he was weeping and he said, "Megan, you have given me a blanket so many nights on the streets. Finally, I get to give one to you." That's a Lifetime Achievement Award, get a fancy hood kind of day. Not because of any sort of credentialing that I had to get through the door. Not because of any sort of power or privilege or any sign I could carry in front of political people to tell them what I thought. Not because of anything really that was going to go in a newsletter. But because in that moment of vulnerability, ethically responsible vulnerability, I could be someone who was being served and treated and giving someone else capacity to be their best self, to have a good day, to have a moment of achievement, to be the pastor for me. Most of you in this room are supporters of people in funny outfits. As someone who wears funny outfits every Sunday, I know that with a robe comes great responsibility. However, what I want you all in the back to know, probably not anyone here, but me, I have the greatest ability to help anyone else. I'd give away my shoes if there's somebody who ain't got shoes on, right? But what you all need to remind these people, even when they tell you they don't need it, is that vacations are important. Yes, you should eat 3 times a day. That we need people who are going to make appointments to the doctor for us when we're too busy researching. That we need people in our lives who can give us that same kind of care and compassion that we spend every day trying to give to the world. And everyone in this room, as someone who is probably sitting in that waiting room because they didn't diagnose people with mild Asperger's when I was little. Because they didn't know I had ADHD and they hadn't come up with gender dysphoria yet, or any of the things they could have had a lot of fun talking with me about. That those things made me stronger. And I think with the great introduction, I think the lesson is that it's this moment that gets us in the door and gets us a fancy desk and gets us a pretty piece of paper on the wall. But it's our lives and how we live them and what we do with them that becomes the most important thing that we're putting into the world. I'm not saying you all have to go sleep on the streets. But find the thing that's yours to do and do it well. Do it often. Do it when they tell you you shouldn't or when it's unsafe. Particularly because if it's unsafe for some fancy educated person like me to sleep on the streets, when will we be so angry that those without the capable skills that I have are on those same vulnerable streets? And I know that's the work that you all are doing every day. So I thank you for your work just as much as you may feel honored for me to be here. I give that back to you 100-fold. And I really believe that I was gifted with a disabled mind. That my autism didn't come with the small child taking apart toasters and trying to figure out exactly how it worked. But my mind wanted to know why poverty existed. And actually, when people looked out into the world and saw homelessness, instead of being overwhelmed or convinced it was too big for us to solve, my mind said, let's figure this toaster out. So regardless of any diagnosis you have, or is coming for you, make it your strength, and make it the thing that helps you be the best you can in the world. And instead of ending with amen, I think you should have to sing. This is going to be a long service. So you ready? Let it be, let